Of all the things about your film when you watch Uprising, what jumps out and pleases you the most? And by the way, say your name and state the name of the film.
Yeah, sure. Fredrik Stanton, and the film is Uprising.
And you're the director.
And I'm the director, yes. It was very important to me to tell the story accurately and clearly of what happened, because it was such a significant event, and it meant so much to the people who were involved and to the people of Egypt. What moves me the most is the power of the human spirit, and to see that come out with such force, to see the courage of the people who put their lives on the line, still means a great deal to me.
It's a film, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, but you have a responsibility to these people.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
Tell the story accurately.
Yeah, that's right.
And not misrepresent them.
Yeah.
Which happens sometimes when you don't even know it.
Yeah.
But you got that right.
I mean, it's been very gratifying to me to show it to Egyptians and have them not only say that it reflects their experience, but that they learn sometimes things that they didn't even know about other elements of the uprising that they had to know before. So that's very satisfying.
So at some point you become connected to the story before you ever even make a film. When did that happen? When did that little fire get in your belly?
It's a great question. I've been interested in international affairs for a while. I wrote a book prior to this called Great Negotiations, Agreements That Changed the Modern World. And when the Egyptian Revolution happened, I realized its significance. I realized that it was probably one of the more significant events since the fall of the Berlin Wall, and that there'd be some terrific stories in terms of the human element coming out of the event.
I'm convinced that, well, in a lot of these things that are happening over the world, because there's been a lot of events in the last few years, this one being so remarkable, that the internet and social network had so much to do with it. Because all of a sudden people in the world that were disconnected are connected, and they look and see what other people are saying and doing for the first time. Do you agree?
I do. Social media was an enormously important element of the uprising.
In what way?
Well, one of the a professor at Cairo University in mass media says, this was the first revolution in the history of the world that was on Facebook as an event days before it actually happened, and people would click, "I am attending the revolution," and it was just an incredible thing. What social media really did, and what the internet did, was it lowered the cost and the time required to reach out to tens of millions of people instantly, and to organize them and to mobilize them. And it also provided a space beyond the reach of the security forces where the organizers can communicate with each other and organize and plan. And those two things were very important. Now, as many of the people I interviewed reminded me, there have been revolutions for hundreds of years before the internet. But I do think it was an accelerant. I think it allowed it to become larger, quicker than it otherwise would have been. And I think it took the security forces by surprise. So when millions and tens of millions of people poured into the streets, they were able to overwhelm the security forces. And that was largely because of the effect of social media.
And yet the security forces have the same access to the same internet.
They do, and I think there was a psychological element of surprise. Many of the people I interviewed after the revolution, a number of people stormed the Interior Ministry's security headquarters, and a number of the people I interviewed found their own secret police files. And it turns out the security forces had hacked their emails and had been following their communications very closely. So on that level, I think they were aware of what was going on, but conceptually, it was a shock to the security forces. That the idea that you could mobilize millions of people using the internet was something they couldn't quite get their minds around.
I know by the people in the revolution you've been embraced. Is there another group that's not embracing you and after you? Do you ever feel threatened?
Oh, no. I mean, again, this is a story that's told through the eyes and the voices of the people who participated, and it's just been a pleasure for me to be a part of the project.
Let's talk about Lone Star Film Festival, because you've been embraced. You've been fully embraced by Fort Worth and the Lone Star Film Festival. What does that mean to you?
It's a terrific city. This is my first time in Fort Worth, and it's a privilege to be here. It's a privilege to be part of the film festival, and I'm enjoying every minute.
Is there a hospitality here that you haven't seen before? Do you recognize it?
There is, from the moment I arrived, and it's just been terrific. Everyone's been very helpful and warm and gracious, and it's just wonderful.
You know, smart people can be kind.
I've always
It's a smart city. It's a smart art city.
Yeah. I look forward to getting to know it even better.
Yeah. Have you been to Texas before very much?
I have. I've been to Dallas,
Right.
and I've been to Houston. My best friend is actually from Midland, so that's.
Well, Lyle Lovett has a song that says, "That's right, you're not from Texas, but Texas wants you anyway."
Well, that's great to hear.
And it's a good thing. Tell me about the screening, and that experience of going into a theater, because it doesn't happen all the time, but when it does, it's quite remarkable. For you, was it?
The screening is on Sunday, but.
Oh, so you haven't screened it yet? I thought you
Not
did
yet
once.
here.
Okay.
No,
okay.
not yet here.
Oh, good.
But
good.
The wonderful thing about a screening is seeing the effect that the film has on the audience. And obviously, you invest so much time and effort and worry and energy into making the film as good as you possibly can. And to see the effect that it has on the audience is really gratifying.
What's the thing? Last question. What's the thing about? You know, it's different than writing, but there's a similar element, I think, to writing a book and to making a documentary, because they're both about the details.
Absolutely.
I'm assuming you find joy in both. What is the joy in making a film?
It's a more collaborative it's a more collaborative effort, which of course is great fun. Writing is a very solitary discipline, so you've got a team behind you that you can rely on, and that makes it a lot more fun. It's a shorter cycle, of course. Instead of many years, it's only a couple of years, and it's more alive. It's more visual. It's more tangible, almost in a sense, and that's very gratifying too.
Welcome to Texas.
Thank you.
Welcome back to Texas.
Thank you.